Vivekananda College and Competition Second Year in Vivekananda College to recite the college prayer.
राजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित् सुख स्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे. My pronouns to Regular Secretary Maharaj, respected Mr. Kalyana Sundaram and Mr. Venkat, the esteemed resource person for the today's faculty development program, our principal, Dr. Srinivasan, the coordinator of the evening college, Professor Sriram, the joint coordinator, Professor Manikantan, teachers coming from various institutions of Chennai, our own teachers, and dear friends. First of all, a very warm welcome to this temple of learning named after the hallowed saint Swami Vivekananda. We in Vivekananda College endeavor to impart education as envisaged by Swamiji himself. Swamiji says, education is the manifestation of perfection already in man, and it is along these lines that we endeavor to impart education in this institution. This year is a very special year. The entire nation, in fact, the entire world is celebrating the concluding phase of Swami Vivekananda's 150th birth anniversary celebrations. So we also had several functions amidst these celebrations, and this program, this faculty development program, also is one among those. Swami Vivekananda said, education is not the amount of information that is put into one's brain and which runs riot there, undigested throughout the life. But now what we find, the trend of education that's going on, it's rather unfortunate. The art of storing vast amount of information and retrieving it at lightning speed is equated with education. I was really shocked when the other day I was talking to one of our maths professor that the boys, they prefer whatever problem is given, even if you alter the figures, they say it is out of syllabus. And not only that, there is a proportion of illustrations and problems that should appear in the question paper. If this be the situation, I think it is something else, but it cannot be education. If this be the case, we know only the weight of education and not the value of it. I am reminded of a beautiful Sanskrit shloka which says, Yatha karaschandana bharavahi varasya beta natu chandanasya. A donkey is being laid with say 50 kgs of chandana, sandalwood. What does the donkey understand? It understands only the weight, such and such kgs, but not the values, not the value of that chandana, so many crores of rupees. Similarly, if we understand education to be just a tool to enable us to pass a few degrees and give us a job, then I don't think we are doing any positive contribution to the society. So, if we want to know the connotation of education in the real sense of the term, we have to understand what Swami Vivekananda said. He said, we want that education by which character is formed, the strength of mind is increased, the intellect is expanded, and by which one can stand on one's own feet. If such a type of education is to be granted, is to be given to the students, the teachers have to play a very important role. In fact, looking at these aspects only, we have thought of having this faculty development program, whereby you will be able to enhance your core competency and be able to be a better teacher. I hope you will be benefited by this program, and I invoke the blessings of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, and Swami Vivekananda for the success of this program. I conclude this introductory talk of mine by sharing with you this clarion call of Swami Vivekananda, which he very often quoted to inspire people. Uttistata, Jagrata, Prapya Varan, Nibodhata. Arise, awake, wake up yourselves and awaken others to achieve the consummation of human life before you all pass off. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Thank you all. Namaskar.
Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Respected resource persons, Kalyana Sundaram and Mr. Venkat, respected Principal Dr. Srinivasan, my dear monastic brother Brahmachari Bodhatma Chaitanya, respected coordinator and joint coordinator, and also the faculty members, both teaching and non-teaching.
Okay.
Respected and distinguished teachers, guests, and admirers of Swami Vivekananda who have assembled here, especially to deliberate upon the general methodology of teaching, and also my dear students. I am very happy that such a get together to share our ideas on education, which was very dear to Swami Vivekananda. As my previous speaker told you, is 150th birth anniversary celebrations of Swami Vivekananda. All over the globe it is going on. And then we thought, it is the teachers who are the builders of the nation. They can make or mark a nation. If the teachers are well equipped, the prosperity of the country is very much assured. The destiny of the country is very much assured, because the builders of the nation have a vision and a mission in their life. And that is why Swami Vivekananda used to say, education is the panacea for all evils what we see in society. Swami Vivekananda used to say, give education and see what will happen. If you give the education to the masses, to the students who are at your disposal, you just see the power will come, the glory will come, all that is good and great will come when you rekindle in him the real education, when you ignite his mind with the real education. And in Ramakrishna Mission, generally, by real education, what do we mean? Let me tell you a few points. The name of the institution is Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda College. You see what Ramakrishna used to say on the education. It is very, very relevant to all of us. It is, priceless teaching. It is one of the cardinal teachings of Sri Ramakrishna that I want to place before you. The cardinal teaching is, as long as I live, so long do I learn. Learning is never complete. The moment you enter the campus of Ramakrishna Mission, you will find it. This is the difference. You see, as long as I live, so long do I learn. This was given by Sri Ramakrishna to us, and this is one of the, impetus for us. Always you can be fresh. What will happen is, in the field of education, if you have a learning attitude, remember, you will never be outdated. You will be always fresh in the field of academics. For example, you will see in Western countries, many of the developed countries, many people who are at the age of 60, they start doing research, they register themselves with the universities, some kind of work, academic work they want to do. Why? The thing is, if you are connected with the field of education, you never become old. Please tell me, who wants to become old in this world? Nobody wants. Nobody wants. That is why I am telling you, if you think that you want to remain young and fresh, you have to be, always taking and learning. Never stop your learning. Never say, yes, I have known everything. No, the ideas are changing, the concepts are changing, everything is changing. In the changing scenario, you can make yourself better and better suited. When India became independent, I go back, after independence, commissions after commissions were instituted to study the field of education and recommend what is needed for India. Kothari Commission was there, Radhakrishnan Commission, so many are there. Now even I am telling you in UGC, now the current trend is, all of you know that refresher courses and orientation courses are mandatory. They have made it mandatory. And let me tell you, They are only the prescribing authority, but the implementing authority is more important. All over the universities you will find academic staff colleges are there, and 21 days a teacher is supposed to undergo the orientation course or the refresher course. But if it is reduced into a ritual, mind you, I had the opportunity of going as a resource person in some of the universities in Bengal, like Calcutta University and Burdwan University. I will tell you, the thing is, many times we are apt to fall in the old rut, and it becomes simply a kind of ritual. And we do not want in Ramakrishna Mission that to happen. And that is why now and then, it is required that we do come together, we do share our ideas, we do discuss, and we enrich ourselves with these things. And that is why when the teachers, they came to me with an idea that, look here, Maharaj, we want to have a kind of this. I told, yes, you get best resource persons possible and have it. And now and then, brushing up is very, very required. So you can say that here, this afternoon, you are going to be benefited with the best ideas which are going to be shared here. And second thing, just I want to mention to you is the whole world is flooded with information. But how to use that information for the benefit of the students, now it's a great challenge for the teacher. The other day I was telling, when there is a flood, the first casualty becomes the drinking water. Everywhere water is there, but that water cannot be used. And especially when there is a flood, in the Uttarakhand so much of flood was there. Do you know the need of the hour? What was the need of the hour was drinking water. Everywhere you are surrounded by water, but not a drop of drinking water is available to you. That is why from helicopter, the first relief is done to supply the drinking water, because life cannot be sustained without water. And now perhaps the scenario is, so much of information. At the click of a button you have so much of information. But how to get that information into man-making and character-building education of the students is the problem before the teachers, and I am very sure that you are going to deliberate over these points. Before I conclude, I pray to Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, and Holy Mother Sri Sharada Devi to bestow upon us the choicest blessings so that we can be fit instruments for a better India. Thank you very much.
I now request our principal, Dr. K. Srinivas, to felicitate our speaker, K. Kalyan Sundaram, with the bouquet.
Thank you. Dear Mother, resource persons, dear Evening College in-charge member, coordinators, my colleagues and faculty members from other colleges and delegates. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all for this program, faculty development program. I hope you will have a nice time, both within the sessions and outside the sessions. We will try to extend aspects, make it comfortable for you. And there is a beautiful proverb in Sanskrit, Sishya Ichet Parajayam. A teacher has to expect defeat at the hands of his students. Only when the student develops, when he excels his teacher, then alone a teacher can be considered a good, better and best teacher. And in the present day scenario, it becomes very clear. The more the teacher is senior, the more the teacher is aged, the advancement outside is greater, and the youngsters, the whole world, Previously it was available at the finger, nobody's fingertips, and even now in the fingernails, the advancements are available. And we have to constantly upgrade ourselves. There is a tendency. Say it is called Sishta Anadhyayana. That is, whenever a scholar visits a village, all the schools and colleges in the area have to declare a holiday to receive the scholar, because in ancient days, this much of what is called communication facilities were not available, and only itinerary scholars, the scholars visiting, so they will be able to interact. Say within 20 years, a book was produced in Bengal. Within 20 years, that book was contradicted in South India, that is in Chennai, in Sriperumbudur, in Bangalore and other areas. So within so fast the books, the palm-leaf manuscripts, they have been copied and they have been transmitted, studied, understood and refuted. And its reply was given immediately within another 10 years or so in Bengal, like that. So much of literary scholars developments are taking place. It is not just information, what we learn. Say the importance is, it is not just what we learn, but to know what we have learned. Unless we know what we have learned, it becomes meaningless. Say for example, take PhD guidance. Students are doing advanced areas, new areas, the areas with which the guide is not conversant with at all. The guide may not be knowing the area. If the guide is knowing the area, it may not be different from UG and PG classes. The areas are totally new. The student, the guide, the research candidate takes up totally a new subject. What's more important is the research methodology. Whether the candidate follows the methodology, comes out with a particular research. So also in education also, the information may be available to the students directly, but whether he is able to cull out the information in a proper way, arrange it in a proper way, disseminate it in a proper way, so the pedagogy, that is the methodology of teaching, methodology of understanding, methodology of dissemination, methodology of its application and use, they become more important. So the methodology becomes more important than what you actually learn. What you learn may be available in books, so constantly we have to upgrade. Say the methodology also, it is not going to remain constant, it also changes with the advancing subjects and other things. So the department has conceived, boards of accounting and finance, the department has conceived with the practicing professionals, not just the subjects, but how to teach the subjects using modern gadgets, how what is called to upgrade ourselves, the universal standards, how to develop standards, etc. And I warmly felicitate the department for conceiving this idea and arranging the course, and I thank the management for what is called permitting the arrangement of this course, and I congratulate all the delegates and participate, and I hope you will have a nice time. Thank you very much.
Good morning to one and all present here. The distinguished chief guests for the day are Mr. K. Kalyana Sundaram, who is the proprietor of Excel Career India, a professional institution of excellence for coaching and guiding IAS and IPS and other civil service aspirants. He finished his graduation from Delhi University and joined as a probationary officer in Punjab National Bank. Then he appeared for the prestigious civil service examinations. In 1983, he qualified successfully in the civil services exams with a good rank of 192 All India in a total of 900 vacancies. He opted for the prestigious Indian Audit and Account Service as it enjoys constitutional independence. I take pleasure in welcoming you, sir. The second speaker for the day is Mr. A. Venkat, who is presently the head financial management and banking and financial services varsities at Chennai Business School. He completed his BCom from Loyola College as a university 5th rank holder in the year 1976. He pursued his postgraduate diploma in business management from IIM Bangalore with a specialization in financial management. He is also a fellow member of Institute of Cost Accounts of India and an associate member of Company Secretary. He has got 26 years of industry experience as a finance head, vice president and regional controller of Company Secretary, and 12 years of teaching experience in B schools. He has won the Best Faculty Award for the academic year 2008-09 at IBS Chennai. I take the pleasure in welcoming you, sir.
I now invite our Secretary Maharaj, Swami Shubhadevanandaji Maharaj, to present the speaker, A. Kalyan Sundaram, with another memento as a token of appreciation. now request our principal to present a bouquet to our other speaker, Mr. A. Venkat. I invite our evening college in charge, Chari Boda Prasetji Maharaj, to present a memento to our speaker. I invite our Secretary Maharaj, Swami Shukadevanandaji Maharaj, to present a memento to Mr. Venkat. First speaker for the day, Mr. Kalyan Sundaram, IANAS, for this session.
The respected Swamiji Sukadevananda, respected Brahmacharya Bodhatma Chaitanya, Principal Dr. Srinivasan, Dr. Manikandan, Faculty Coordinator Mr. Sriram, Mr. Venkat, and the compeer who competed here, Marav, and the members of the teaching community present here, and the faculty members of this college and the young students. I am delighted to be here this morning to share some of my thoughts on teaching methodology. In fact, I consider it as a prestige, great honor to be in this august institution to deliver this talk. In fact, last week when Dr. Manikandan asked me to speak on teaching methodology, I was hesitant, I was humble, because I am a teacher by divine intervention and divine accident. I was in civil services, and there are many members here who are more senior to me in teaching profession. But even then, I thought as a fresher and learner, by trial and error you learn more. I thought I would share some of what I learned in the 10 years after quitting the civil services. I always felt for a long time about education. I have forgotten what is taught about integration or calculus by my mathematics professor. I have forgotten also almost about Newton's law by the physics professor. I have forgotten also about what is HCl plus KMNO4. But all those subjects are forgotten. But from first standard till today, I have not forgotten my teachers. Because as far as education is concerned, I feel for the people, the best pages of the textbook is only the teacher. He is the role model. Because the people, the teachers who inspired us, who created fire in us, whom we treasure even in today's life. Because I believe basically the sacred memory from childhood, what we get, which we cherish in our heart, that is the best education a person which gets. So which we got it from many of the teachers who came with the fire in the class and who warmed us. Because as such, this profession, when I took it up, initially I thought 10 years back whether I had chosen a right profession. Because as you are in the government civil services, as you know, you have a subservient, subordinate class who will always say yes for everything. They will never say no. And here the student, when he comes, this present generation student, he has more demands, he is very impulsive. Then I thought probably this impact of globalization or media, whether he is arrogant. Then later, after studying for 8 to 10 months, I realized the fact that he is not arrogant. Basically, it is a case of ignorance. Because I felt, looking at him, talking to many of the students, I came to the conclusion that he is, I really pity for the thing is, they have been deprived of many early childhood joys. The joys of being with the parent, as in the competitive world, they are put under the care of either a nursing mother in a play school or at the hands of greedy tuition masters. Half the time they don't have the occasion to even see the parents. And particularly the great team spirit of a joint family which we all have, or even the tolerant sports spirit which we used to play. These things when they are deprived of, then I thought his demands and this thing one can understand. The teacher has got a more response, particularly when it comes to the question of being also a multi-role, multitask this thing which is put on the shoulders of the teacher. Basically, I also believe, apart from the academic curriculum, as Swamiji mentioned, there is a social curriculum which should be given more importance, because I believe, we remember even today the teachers, particularly, who have taught us eternal values, who have taught us man-making values, who taught us life-building values, who taught us lasting values, who quoted at least in 1 hour class 15 minutes either from Swami Vivekananda or from the lives of Einstein or from the lives of Abraham Lincoln or from the great literary spirits of Shakespeare or Charles Dickens or about Henry David Thoreau, and those are the people who live in our hearts even today also. The flame lit by them, even today the passion, the fire, the thirst which he created from them, that only lives here, that is only made me also to share. We stand here only because of those teachers we salute. Because basically what happens is today, as I believe as far as the education is concerned, it is totally surrounding only upon the teacher-pupil relation. One has to respect the people. We cannot thwart or put our own views or our own this thing on him. We must help the nature to take care of the child. He is nature's unique child. Though nature loves analogies, but nature never likes carbon copies, either from the father or parent or anybody, but whether from the father or a teacher. A teacher, I always believe right from my first standard, the teacher who tries to control or who uses authority, he stands an obstacle to it, or what you can call for the learning process. Because as such, the role of the teacher is, you open up the possibilities, you demonstrate to show what is possible. After that, the learning is done by him. As our Brahmacharya told in the earlier, what Swami Vivekananda told, the perfection is in him, what he told which comes out. Because the key, he holds the secret, what he wants. The whispering is done to him right from his earlier age. Because he has been nursed under the care of his mother as a first teacher, he expects the same throughout his long path and learning process. So he doesn't want any obstacles or somebody to thought is this thing, where his solitude should be left alone. This is what always I believe, because here a kind of a military hurry or a kind of a, what you can call authority, this thing, it will not help. We have to have the nature to take care of him. Her nature, this thing is secret is patience, where an enthusiastic speaker, enthusiastic teacher, what he does. I wholly believe the classroom atmosphere, particularly in the case of either like a doctor-patient relationship, where in spite of all the sophisticated equipment, scanning, everything, it is only the doctor-patient relation where the intimacy is there. Half of the disease is also cured. Not that these days you go to an arrogant doctor, he feels as if you have some damage to your body and you have come, he will first abuse and then he will talk and how much he can grab. Similarly, in spite of all the sophisticated laboratories or buildings or anything, I hold the teacher counts only in the case of an educational institution. As regard teacher is concerned, the teacher-student relationship, basically, it is not only as he told, our Swamiji told, it is not only the case of educating the people, he is a real awakener also, as Swami Vivekananda told. I believe that educating the mind itself will not do. Educating the heart is also essential. Educating the heart, then only it is full complete. Because basically the perfection that our Brahmacharya Swamiji told, what is inside him, the greatest gift anything can be, which can be lasting value, is what comes from inside. It cannot be put forcibly, which can be done, because anything which is used by force, I believe it will not stay in the mind at all. So as regards other things about the teaching, this thing is concerned, regarding the atmosphere which we create, the teaching atmosphere in the classroom, because the teacher, basically, he brings the daily weather for the student inside the classroom. The daily weather, his moods, everything is brought by him. Either he can be a tool of oppression or he can be an instrument of inspiration also. Either he can be a humanizer or he can heal also, he can hurt also. With all that, with enthusiasm, one comes. Enthusiasm has its own supernatural entity, as it has got its own eloquence. Any enthusiastic teacher who come, normally they bring radiance. There are many number of, in fact, when I joined the civil services, many of my senior colleagues used to ask me, they didn't know, they thought we are from Tamil Nadu, you must have studied only in Ramakrishna Mission, being in T Nagar or nearby RN. Those days, that was the thing, people joining civil service. They used to tell me, have you ever heard the speeches of Anna Subramaniam? They used to say that every day 10 o'clock what he talks to him, today also I hold it in my heart. So such is this thing, such gliding spirits go in this institution. And such a kind of a thing in many of the institutions nowadays, as he told, our Swamiji was mentioning about too much of information. When too much of information, I was just thinking about what T.S. Eliot told. He told, where we lost our life in living, where we lost our wisdom in knowledge, where we lost our knowledge in information. So, too much of information on the students also, it is not a very this thing. Where particularly, as Mahatma Gandhi always used to say, it is not a pouring in one side, it is a drawing out the best, where an amusement should be created for the student. Even today, I believe, when I was interacting, even today we coach for the civil service, where for 4 months or 5 months coaching, in 2 hours of time, 15 minutes I allot totally for this. So, like that, teachers come in many forms in our everyday life. I learned one of these things in Swamiji is present here, I thought I will tell. When I was a probationer in 1983 in the Mussoorie Academy, Swami Ranganananda Swami from the great Ramakrishna monk, he came to deliver a talk on ethics and administration. He electrified the entire auditorium for 1.5 hours. That is the time I was provoked in my heart. Immediately when I came to Delhi, I purchased 3 volumes of his Bhagavad Gita. Even though there are number of Gitas which are written by, this is unique and distinct by its own, this thing with so many examples what he says. And after that it prompted me also to buy all the 9 volumes of Swami Vivekananda speeches and read. And imagine one would lead to another. Today the government, what he spoke, ethics and administration, in the UPSC IAS syllabus they kept one paper itself on ethics and attitude. Because they thought the erosion of values and integrity after so many scams which were occurring, they thought they should have one full paper in the main examination. They introduced it for ethics and attitude. And one more last thing only I will share with, because he asked me that since we are ahead of the time, we should. Last this thing is, one more thing about, particularly about the education is, as here in Ramakrishna Mission it is a different thing. In many of the institutions, our own, in fact, Nani Palkiwala used to say, 10 fatal mistakes after independence. One of the fatal mistakes he will say is, in our education, our own rich culture, heritage, it is being forgotten, which is not taught as a curriculum in many of our schools or colleges, which is because our own unity out of diversity, our plural society, our accommodating spirit, the empathy for the poor which we have, and our own wholeness which is told in our Upanishad, because that is a secular one, which nobody can even tell about the Upanishad. And our own, what you can say, our anthem of music of our collective anthem, which is our hybrid civilization. This has been totally to a certain extent, which is forgotten. In fact, Swami Vivekananda used to say this is a 5,000-year-old civilization. By now, it should be our own Gita, Yoga, our Upanishad, and our heritage should be the household property of each and every home. But unfortunately, this has not been done, because our curriculum or anything, as Swamiji was mentioning, so many Malcolm Adisesha Commission came, Kothari Commission came, so many this thing came. After that also, this rich cultural heritage. Because even some of our own national leaders or some of our own people who have led a luminous life, their lives also are not put in modern India or anywhere also. If you take the case of even Nani Palkiwala, who was an intellectual trained, he has delivered innumerable number of lectures where he taught particularly the compassion. Compassion, what the education taught him, he told about compassion, that is empathy for the other, that is for the underprivileged, that is for the dispossessed, desperate, all that. So finally, what I believe is, to conclude my speech, as he was telling, learning is a life learning process. Nowadays, I learn only from my students because they taught me many lessons in the interactive process. Some bright student come and I sit with him. I used to always tell him that your presence here, when some of the youngsters, when they discuss, I told him your presence have brought in such vibrations. It has increased my studies in the night by 2 hours. So keep coming and discussing. There are many number of ignited minds like that who have come. And finally, what I say is the teacher's basic this thing to inspire the student for lifelong. Because the motivation which comes is from outside, which is a temporary force. Inspiration is one thing which internal glow, which is a permanent one, which lifelong till the grave which will exist. Because as Kafka used to say in a different thing, our teacher should be like axe for the frozen sea within the people. Cut the axe for the frozen sea, as our Brahmacharya was mentioning about the perfection which is inside, where it should be come out for that only. So I thank all the people for patiently listening me. And to conclude, I will tell the last this thing only about particularly the teaching community present here, because I am also the same fraternity where here, like what Drona told, that it is not an ordinary candle which is given to me in hand. It is a bright torch which is given. So I will make it glow more brighter and hand it over the next generation. Luminous one which will hand. So that is in the hands of that social engineering, is in the hands of teachers. I thank the organizers for having invited me to share some of my thoughts here and from my experience. And I thank all the people for having patiently listened. I hope with the blessings of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, because I also personally believe and meditate only in front of his photo every day. I every day also read his sayings. I wish the teachers community feel proud of the academic institution, make your students proud, make your community proud, make the nation proud, make the nation as strong and vibrant as what Swami Vivekananda envisioned in the Committee of Nations. Thank you all.